All right, hello everyone. It's Bryden here today. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about, but I got some inspiration quite easily. Can't see it. Probably should have left this to the unboxing, but I'm a selfish person and I want instant gratification, so I opened the box already. But if you can tell also from the picture in the back, these are the little finer attention to detail pieces that I hope one day someone realizes. But I wanted to talk about Amazon. And Amazon had Amazon Prime Day here just this week, I believe, July 16th, 2018. This is just a massive thing for them. 100 million products they sold alone this year. This has been, increasingly it's just a massive event for Amazon. Their stock prices are up. Jeff Bezos is richer. And it's just a really interesting thing to look at because there's a lot of things going on in terms of obviously the political environment, but in terms of just Amazon in general. And I think this idea of, companies like Amazon becoming more powerful and bigger than countries and having, the power to shape society because of the technology infrastructure they have, the access to capital, and just the people that they have, the intelligence, the developers. They do a lot of vetting for the people that they're hiring and have really tried to suck up the sort of some of the best talent in the world. And so there's a lot of things going on with Amazon today. I want to touch on some of those. I've just got some notes here. There's not too many people, I don't think, who when I talk about when I say Amazon, they're probably not thinking about the jungle. They are thinking about Jeff Bezos and the e-commerce company. And so just a couple things on them. Founded by Jeff Bezos, July 5th, 1994. Largest internet retailer in the world. It started as an online bookstore. Everyone knows this. Later diversified to sell videos, downloads, all that stuff. And does sell. If you go on Amazon today, you'll get like the Amazon Basics, which is their own sort of product line, which they're always recommending. And from my experience, I can get their HDMI cords and stuff. I've had no problem with it. And so not only are they obviously selling through their own products, massive third-party seller platform, and some of the the biggest companies are on there. It's really interesting to see how this has come together and just been such a massive force. And obviously some of the criticism that we hear about Amazon is it taking over and sort of destroying the small businesses and even large big box stores. And of course we look at Walmart. 2015, Amazon surpassed Walmart as the most valuable retailer in the United States by market capitalization. And just to see, like, one of the examples that a lot of people talk about is the idea of Toys R Us, who in the beginning of its move of trying to get into e-commerce actually used Amazon to do its fulfillment. And so this has been a situation a lot of people have, I believe, found. They want to use the shipping abilities, the operations, and the technology, everything that Amazon has. And this is good in the beginning for them, but it gets people used and tailored to shopping on Amazon. And so for that Toys R Us example, people got used to buying Toys R Us toys on Amazon instead of going to the Toys R Us stores. And down the line, that's obviously had some pretty negative impacts, bankruptcy, and just a lot of problems in them trying to shift and adapt to a market that's changing so quickly and has been monopolized by Amazon, who's just been very aggressive, logistically sound, and has really taken advantage of an opportunity in the internet boom in the beginning, but just with Jeff Bezos and the team there of just really streamlining their operations. A lot of some of the criticism of Amazon also goes towards just like the over aggressive progress for improvement. Like if you are at an Amazon warehouse, you have like a real-time device that's giving you feedback on your performance so you can speed up or see where you're at. And there's obviously massive tracking systems in there. There's reprimands if you're not hitting your targets. And that's something that I did want to touch on a little bit today about this, some of this backlash that we're seeing for the worker conditions for some of these Amazon workers as well too. But just a couple more things on Amazon Prime, 36-hour shopping event. invented to celebrate Jeff Bezos' online marketplace domination. I must have took that from an opinionated article. And it started 3 years ago, 2015. And the year after that, 60% jump they saw on Prime Day. And so it's a massive day for them. 100 million products sold this year, and in general, 100 million people, they released it this year, 100 million people are now subscribed to Amazon Prime. So I believe here in Canada, I'm paying like $79.99. I think they just had a price boost down in the US right now. That's a lot of people paying for this. And so I got my box there. I abuse Amazon Prime to my delight. I love it. And I think a lot of people are looking at the convenience, the easiness of it, the ability to look at the reviews, the ability to, just quickly validate that you're going to get the product you want. If you have a problem, I just got a notification that I got about a blender. Blender's coming our way. Got a damaged blender notification, basically as instantly as it got damaged. Already the process had started to ship me out a new one. I've never had any problems with really any of my orders off Amazon. They've they've got the money. They don't care about, being stingy on a couple dollars that they're losing off a product. It's all about the customer service. It's about keeping those customers loyal, especially if you're an Amazon Prime member. Just think of the power of that Amazon Prime. They're spreading out worldwide right now. 100 million people subscribe. If you raise that price by $1, that's $100 million you've just raised. Like, there is so much power and so many people who are invested in this. I know I've got some people in my office as well too. We fall victim to Amazon Prime. We fall victim to Prime Day, and they've just got such a good system and structure set up. One of the things that has really made them so successful is that work around information architecture and setting up processes that are very scalable. And so I've probably experienced that in the past. You go to Amazon, you look at a product, 15, 20 minutes later, next day, that product's following you around on Facebook, following you around through Google Ads. That has, they were one of the originators of, you forgot this in the cart, come pick it up. You know what I mean? There's so many strategies that they've implemented that all seem so personalized to you, but are be doing on a massive, massive system and delivering that to obviously billions of people, 100 million people alone just on Amazon Prime. So a couple other things that I wanted to talk about here. One thing that I think is really sort of overlooked for a lot of people anyways is that Amazon is not just selling all the products and everything online. They have the largest they're the largest provider of cloud infrastructure services as well too. So Amazon Web Services, I think I had a couple things pulled up on here. Let me see if I can pull this up. So this is, and I'll put this on the screen. Amazon Web Services here. Man, there are way too many things in here for me to look at. I use a couple of the things on here, not as much as someone who's doing a little bit more, hardcore developer who wants to access all the APIs and actually run it through their own computer and everything without. It's much more technical. That's what I'm trying to get to. It is not for the layman developer, someone who is doing front-end web development, someone who's doing, WordPress, Squarespace, that kind of stuff. And so you can see some of the customers build on AWS. It's massive. They have, speech-to-text APIs, machine learning APIs, just a massive infrastructure of so many different things, databases, compute, migration, networking, just too much stuff for me to even look at. I haven't got too much into this, but it is such a big part of their business as well too that just a lot of people actually don't really think of. I think I had what did I have for the stats there? Press release, 150,000 developers. This is in 2006. 2006, Amazon Web Services started. 150,000 developers signed up since its inception. Big people use it. NASA's using it. Netflix, the Obama presidential campaign of 2012 used it. They just got a $600 million contract with CIA. Another part of their, some of their criticism, they're using the CIA and some of these law enforcement agencies are using basically their visual recognition. So if I am So even on these Amazon Go stores, if I'm a shopper, I go into the store, it's actually detecting basically my identity to match with what I'm buying. And so this is going to be applied. What people are very nervous about of this, panopticon life of, breach security and minority report stuff. CIA and these law enforcement agencies are actually using some of the APIs that Amazon's developed here to detect offenders, detect criminals, and we're going to see that roll out. Another very interesting thing to see. People are obviously a little bit worried about this, and if there's some conflict of interest. And this is where I was really trying to go with the idea of these companies being more powerful than cities, than countries, than almost the world, which is crazy. Like, we continue to see this right now. A big thing that Amazon has been moving towards is trying to find their second headquarters. We can see the rush, like the cities, the countries, the states or the provinces, they want, and I don't think we're getting it down here in Canada. I don't think so. They want this. That they're talking about. We're going to get 50,000 jobs. It's going to be a $5 billion facility, more residents, tourism, all this stuff will be coming to the city that Amazon chooses. And so literal federal, state, and province, their governments are rallying, trying to put these proposals in. Like, you can see how much this is wanted. We're seeing another example here down in Toronto, actually, with the Google Smart City. Like, these massive companies are taking over cities and being a main core component in driving innovation in them. And a lot of people are asking, what are the consequences for that? So, for example, there was on that Google Smart City that they're trying to build in Toronto, there was backlash and outrage over the idea that Google was actually able to keep that data for the city, and that data could be, accessed later through Google, or accessed, just not as secure and safe as we want. We want to keep that data here in Toronto and keep it here in Canada. And so, are they going to adhere to that? What things can they do when they're building that whole infrastructure and technology? And they have the back doors to it. They understand how to access it. We just saw down in the U.S. the company that did the voting poll booths in the United States. They actually had a backdoor entrance to the polling stations, meaning that they could have manipulated data. Like, these things are possible, and I think we really do sort of underestimate, this idea of what these companies can do. These ideas of are these companies good? Are they for bad? Are they driven? Are they driven only by capitalism? A lot of people, a lot of these companies talk about the culture that they've developed, all this kind of stuff. So we really struggle to see that. One of the big things of Google was, basically do no evil. That was removed from their official mandate this year. So maybe we're in this time where we should be looking at these big monopolies and companies that control this technology. And I know for a fact I would not do well if Google went down. I don't even think I'd do well. Amazon doesn't affect me as much right now, but these companies are so tightly connected. We're now getting in, obviously, Amazon Echo, smart homes, all this kind of stuff is making us so interconnected and reliant and dependent on these companies that it puts us in one of those really scary situations. I've seen something that these smart homes for Amazon can do. They can actually lock the doors in the house or unlock the doors if someone's coming to deliver. You don't know what's going to go wrong. Amazon has not had the perfect track record in terms of their infrastructure that's gone down many times. There's been big days when all their servers have gone down. They've had problems. These glitches can happen and actually have a really big impact on real human lives. Imagine if the server goes down and it locks you in your house all day. And, maybe that might not happen, but things like that are actually risky. And as we continue to integrate these companies into our life, we do have to be wary of it. And to continue on that, Amazon is now getting much deeper into lobbying. Jeff Bezos, I'm trying to think when he bought it, a couple years ago, but bought Washington Post for $250 million. They are now in part of the political discourse and actually generating content. Is that content biased? Is it neutral? Is it supporting Amazon's agenda? All these questions really do arise quite quickly when we start to look at just the power and capacity of Amazon, and of course some of these other tech companies as well too. Now, What else did I have pulled up here? Just wanted to pull up actually like what the Amazon looks like. Got my account here. This is probably sort of showing my cards of what I'm actually looking at right now, but just the success that they've had. You can see the organization, the user experience. A lot of thing that I look at is the idea of, how can we get someone to go to a site, check out smoothly, and have a good experience through that, but then obviously want to come back, enjoy that experience, and really gain some customer loyalty. And I don't think we've seen too many companies do that as successfully as Amazon. I'm trying to think of the number right now too, but over $500, I think like the average customer spends. I'm well over for that quota for my year. And there's something so exciting about ordering it, seeing that Prime, knowing that it's coming in 2 days. I get an extra little dopamine boost because I get a text message when it arrives at the office here. And so nothing better than knowing that I have a product coming in that I'm excited for, that I've got from Amazon. I know it's going to be good. And I think a lot of people feel that same way. And when we look at that, I wanted to pull up this article as well too, that this is one of those, I think, hypocritical places where we are, because one of my big beliefs is that there's a level of convenience that once we hit that level of convenience, people don't necessarily care about the moral components of everything else. So we hear a lot at Amazon, we hear about people having problems, workers having problems. I'm just trying to pull up here. Basically human labor issues, people calling it modern day slavery, brutal life working people, working ridiculously long hours, again, getting reprimanded if they're not hitting their targets. Just like I couldn't imagine Amazon Prime Day, how many orders come in, 100 million orders come in, all of those have to be fulfilled in that certain amount of time. These people are walking through the facilities trying to get everything done. The people who are actually delivering the stuff is crazy. People, they say they walk like an average of 15 miles a day. I don't know. What are these complaints? This is one of the things where I get a little blurry as well too, because calling it modern day slavery, all this stuff. I believe what some of the response has been is Amazon people who work at Amazon get fantastic benefits. And they are on that minimum, not even on that minimum wage, $15 an hour. And then there's just this like jobs are hard. People work hard. So this idea of modern day slavery is a really interesting thing to look at, and we're seeing boycotts. There was massive strikes, I believe, in Brazil over Amazon, for basically on protest of Amazon Prime Day. It's a really sort of odd situation because we look at it. People who work at Amazon, most in some case, at least if they have the drive and the ambition, they can leave Amazon and go and get a job. Now, go and get another job. Now, not everyone has that situation, and that's often what we hear. A lot of them are working in fulfillment centers that are in relatively rural area. They're maybe unskilled workers, and there's not that too many other options for them. And so it is a little bit more of that life or death situation, which makes it seem a little bit more unbearable and getting towards that, that really difficult level that we're talking about. But again, it's the other side of this is life is hard. Working is part of life, and working is sometimes not the best, the most enjoyable thing that we do. So I don't know where I lie in this debate, but it's definitely something I think about, and I think it's one of those things where you can see that capitalist nature come on when the profits at all cost are there and available. Then that's really seems to be the direction that it goes. And I don't think I have the figure on me right now, but Jeff Bezos is worth like $150 billion USD. And so there was something saying like the amount of money that he makes in a minute is equivalent to, what one of their workers makes in a year or something. It's a little bit blurry on that lines, but that contrast is there. And so when we look at that, that is a really difficult thing. And another big sort of knock on Jeff Bezos there has been his sort of, and Amazon in general, his lack of dedication to philanthropy and just donating to nonprofits, all that stuff as well too. Is that necessary? Is that reasonable? I don't know. I don't know if that's a reasonable thing to critique, but you do see such a massive level of inequality at Amazon, and I think that's really reflective of the whole world in general right now. So again, going back to that, I think people are very aware of this stuff. But yet there's that level of convenience and ease and satisfaction that comes with it that even the most righteous people often overlook. And so I have some very protesty friends who would probably not, who in many cases, if it wasn't convenient for them to order, would be very against Amazon. But because of the of how it works for them, they are down to support it as well too. And so there's just a couple notes. I'm going to share this link in the article under the post here. But there were some really cool sort of stories, not cool, but stories on some of the controversies that Amazon has had. The idea that it is trying to control the underlying infrastructure of the economy and through all the technology and everything they have. Obviously, the privacy piece here with these Amazon Echo devices, with just the knowledge of what people are buying on such a large scale, and really being like the amount of data that they can parse through, make decisions on, predict customer behavior, predict the products that are going to be successful next, and just seeing what people want is pretty damn incredible. And so to know that they have that power and can use that for either the good or for the bad is again something to think about. Echo in hotel rooms now, they're building partnerships with hotels and putting Echo devices in there, and now they're seeing the habits of travelers. There's some really interesting things that are happening along this line, and so I just wanted to pull up a couple other things here. This is just one of the classics that I wanted to look at. Jeff Bezos in his office, 1999. One of the interesting things, is that in a lot of ways, Jeff Bezos was very successful at a pretty young age. He was obviously a brilliant, very intelligent person, but in a lot of ways, he came from, he's one of those sort of not rags to riches stories, but he did not come from a big wealthy family that paved the way for him to do it. In a lot of ways, he is one of those self-made, the people that we look at, that we admire, who really changed the world, built a business that was innovative, and has obviously become one of the most successful business people of all time, and one of the most successful companies of all time. And so I just wanted to show this contrast here. Nerdy Jeff Bezos back in 1999. He was a computer scientist and computer engineering graduate. So he knew his stuff, and he built this infrastructure. And one of the big things that people always talk about him is this sort of formula and algorithm that he built to stop risk, so that he could predict what he wanted to do in his life. And that prediction led him to starting Amazon instead of continuing at his job. And so people, one of those things is that his whole life is basically run off formulas and algorithms, and so he is really sort of one of those streamlined robots in that regard, which is a really interesting thing to think about. So I'm just looking at here. I wanted to show the contrast. This is what we're seeing with Jeff here now. A little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and this has really come, there's a big sort of meme community here that really try to compare these two. So really funny thing to look at. Just a couple other things was this, this Amazon showdown for these headquarters that people were looking at. Really crazy just to see the desire for these cities to have it in there, and I consider, I do again consider that the impact that it's going to have. Amazon merch, I thought, was a really cool thing to check out. If you haven't checked it out, you have to apply for it. It took me a year to actually get in, and I haven't really used it too much. I thought I would use it more, but you can really design your own shirts, artwork, put it up, and then order it for yourself very cheaply to actually get access, basically get your shirts, clothing, whatever you want with your own designs on it, or you can actually design these and sell them directly in the marketplace right away. So it is a really powerful platform if you have done it. If you know how to design well and do it right. Something to look into if you're interested in maybe monetizing a little bit off Amazon. And then there was also Amazon Associates as well too. And Amazon Associates is basically an affiliate program you can take, and I think I had it back here up on my Amazon. You can see this little bar up in the top. I can go to product here, and I haven't done this too much, but you can basically get the text. I don't want to cause any problems here. I want to show any of my information either well too, but you can hit this text, you can get the link, and if I embed that on my site, talk about the product that I like and recommend it, and someone clicks on that link and buys the product, I can actually get a commission to it. So there are a ton of people who are making, quite a bit of their living, or maybe even their whole living off affiliate, becoming an authority in a niche, and then recommending products or just doing reviews and stuff like that. And I believe it's actually sort of the second way that people monetize sites. A lot of people using Google AdSense, so the ads will appear on your site. A lot of other people are going this more natural route and actually doing affiliate programs as well too. And so that's something to look into as well too. Just another way to monetize, and I'm sort of setting up a couple things around that as well too. Of course, another big one, last thing that I'll pull up here that I had talked about, I believe, in my last podcast as well too, Audible. Like, that's where they really originally came from, and selling books, and they've continued that obviously with physical books online, but also the audiobook genre here with Audible. And another fantastic thing to use and access. They've got me in their ecosystem. I pay for a lot of stuff. You cost me a lot of money, Amazon, but it's one of those things where I've gotten a ton of value from them. And I've really only had pretty decent experiences so far. So when I look at all this stuff, think about all these different components and parts of Amazon. You have to respect the scale that they've gotten to, the success that they've had, but you also have to think about those other questions of where does this lead to, where are their priorities, what does their future look like, and how is that going to have an effect on our own lives as well too. So I think that's all I got here today. They're continuing to grow. They've got original content coming out now, their own streaming service, the music. They've got the money, they've got the teams. They're going to continue expanding, and I think very similar to a Zuckerberg-like vision. Wants to be ubiquitous and all-consuming across the world until everyone is buying everything from Amazon, and we're all interconnected through their infrastructure and devices. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to have to see. And the future is coming. I think it's coming, quicker than we think it is. But we also know that these companies are looking for the long run. And so Bezos is already looking at, space and space travel. He's trying to extend lives for people and invested in companies like that. And even a focus on, one of those good side focuses of trying to look at some options so that we don't deplete our resources here on Earth. So I think I'm done here today. I appreciate you checking this out. Let me know if you've got Amazon Prime, you got some thoughts on this stuff. I am really interested in just this idea of people overlooking some moral stuff because of convenience and of course low cost and everything that comes with Amazon here. So thank you very much. I am just going to shift here back to the old full screen Bridesy for the buy at the end of the day, and I look forward to seeing you back next week with podcast. Not sure on what. I'm one of those people running through lives, improvising like everyone else, I think. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend.